5 years into sim racing. How's it going? Mid. Aggressively mid. Mid is back in the dark times of 2020. I was living vicariously through my favorite YouTubers for a couple years, playing the F1 games on an Xbox controller with increasingly fewer assists. Decreasingly fewer assists. Anyway, I finally caved and bought my own Logitech G29 for the PC and dove in iRacing. Had my old PC, built it, so I could get into simulators. I used to love Space Simulator or two and Flight Simulator or two, but very quickly fell down the sim racing rabbit hole specifically, and I upgraded everything I could little by little, the springs and the pedals, IRFFB, um, looking up free hot laps and trying to work without the line and trail br- trail braking and slip angle and technique videos and trying desperately not to spin every lap. And iRacing specifically, along with the Sao Corsa and R Factor 2, really opened my eyes to how mortal a driver I was. I had a long career of Need for Speed and Burnout, but I had zero concept of how much technique was involved in driving a race car well. I had thousands of hours. It's not an overstatement. That's not an exaggeration of driving a road car, mostly Hondas and work trucks, but with plenty of experience driving cars while being paid. Between Jimmy John's, Uber, Papa John's. I'm surprised I only found the F1 games about the same time that I fell in love with the sport as a big kid in 2018. Um, Even a kid from Indy knew that Schumacher's F2004 was the fastest thing on four wheels around a track, maybe ever. I don't know if there's anything quicker around a track than that, particularly on slicks. Even if we didn't get to watch it on Sundays, like IndyCar always had my heart and my attention within racing. Uh, I always found those drivers to be like fighter pilots, in their personalities and in their intensity and in the responsibility they took. And NASCAR drivers felt more like quarterbacks. Uh, Different discussion, different day. When I played the F1 games, F1 17 on Xbox One for the first time with the controller and the racing line, all the training wheels and all the assists turned on, I was flexed. I'd always liked road racing games, and I always felt like I was good at them, but this was something else. This was ridiculously difficult. I struggled to even complete a lap cleanly. Uh, I was not at Kansas Speedway anymore, so to speak. Thinking I was very least like good at racing games, I kept going. I kept using the flashback as often as I needed to understand the different results caused by the different inputs. And as that difficulty slider crept up and my times crept down, I had to take the assists away one by one because the difficulty felt inflated. It felt like I wasn't getting good reps in. It felt like I was like lifting too heavy for my technique, so to speak. It always bumped my performance back to earth, right? For a bit while I adapted, but it also helped me to learn about the car, like one piece at a time, and how it affects the other characteristics driving wise of the car. I learned like little principles of setup from that. Uh, Watched a lot of real life onboards and hot laps. F1 TV is one of the best bang for buck investments you can get as a racing driver, for sure. Um, I stalled for like a year to take care of some real life stuff. I sold the Xbox. I played F114 on my little old 360. I sold the Xbox One, but I was able to reward myself pretty quickly because I was rebuilding the PC. I was making that the process. F1 2020 was a great gateway on the PC into iRacing, but uh, if you don't like iRacing, real life will be way worse. And if you don't like F1, iRacing will be worse. Uh, if you like how these games make you feel, good luck and Godspeed, because this drug is hard to track down after 5 years and a lifetime of chasing adrenaline through competition. I think I can say I'm a connoisseur of the many flavors of victory and disappointment that exist in sport and sim racing. Um, Early in iRacing, you run back with comfort of the games that you know and love for the break from reality that you once knew video games to provide. But the questions keep coming back. Can I do better? Where? Was it the car? Was it the brake bias or my trail braking? Was it the game keeping me from doing it like FIFA or Madden? Or it's this like startup sequence now. It's gotten so deep. It's like a real race car, like a rocket. You gotta boot the system, you gotta log in, you gotta launch Steam, you gotta launch iRacing. The wheel software auto launches, SimHub auto launches, Trading Paints sometimes forgets to auto launch. Crew Chief, you have to launch yourself. Select a car and make sure it's racing at a track that's like gonna be happening in less than an hour so that you won't get distracted or bored. Watch a hot lap or two. You download a setup if it's an open race. You fire up the VR, you load in the setup, you practice as early as you can so that you don't miss it. But if you want to do well, you should probably get more than a little bit, like more than a half hour maybe. A half hour is pretty close to the bare minimum when it comes to being near your best before the green flag, right? And representing yourself as competitively and intelligently as you can. Because if your time keeps falling during the race, like you left something on the table in practice that you could have found, so shoot. And like now that everybody around you is either taking it either less seriously than you, and they'll check your ego, frustrate the hell out of you, before you can even start to debate whether you're gonna like do the next session 2 hours after that, or if you're gonna switch, if you're gonna plan B it and audible to something else before you even get a chance to redo. Unless you have a fast repair, in which case you can like get back in it and resume, complete the race. But that's not very satisfying either. All of this hinges on the outcome of this race somehow. Like there are people who make it to 8K, to 10K. And if you like driving and driving as fast as you can, while thinking about all the changing variables of the limit of your car running your race, and you enjoy car racing, 'cause that's the fun part. The the driving ends up taking over quite a bit of iRacing. Uh, Also F1, if you're on a high enough difficulty, you can stratify pretty significantly, depending on how your car is performing relative to the other drivers. I I want to bridge the gap between sim racing and karts and cars and lift karts and sim onto like almost level because entry level race cars are dying and they're still here. We can still save them, but we have to like enough of us have to and try and keep this thing alive. So 1 year into karting, how's it going? I ran my first K1 GP in July of 2022, and full disclosure, I got exposed.